So a church in California reclassifies itself as a strip club because those are allowed to stay open during a lockdown, not churches. And I thought that was like the most awesome, brilliant thing to do, stick it to the man type thing. And yeah, I was just happy. And then I thought about it a little bit more especially in light of like what John MacArthur is doing also in California. And I started to maybe not think it was that great of an idea after all. Let me share that thought with you. But before we get into that, I'm Alex. This channel is Cinco Stones, a place where I deconstruct my faith every single time I open the Bible. And then I use what I have learned to interpret the world around me. And I hope this can be encouraging to you as we both grow spiritually every single day. If you're already feeling this video, please hit the like button. It helps me out. So as I said before, my first reaction was like, that's so brilliant. That's hilarious that this church decided that it was good. Okay, fine. We'll be a strip club if you're not going to let churches stay open. And I just thought that was great. They had two people on stage that they would take their jacket off and their tie, and that was it. That was considered stripping. They had music and they did it for 30 seconds. That was the law. And then they were allowed to continue on with their service. And it was just like, yes, all thumbs up. That's great. But man, I really started to think about that a little bit more, because a verse that comes to mind is we are supposed to be as wise as a snake, or as cunning as a snake, but as innocent as a dove. While I would not condemn them for taking off those clothing articles and say that they were and doing anything really wrong or bad, I just felt like you are taking away from the church's innocence. That we are not to do those types of things, to play those, you might call it a game now. It might be something silly, instead of doing in comparison to what John MacArthur's church did. Because to finish this thought over here is, they're like, oh yeah, well, we're going to be a family-friendly strip club, and we're going to strip the devil of his power. And I love that. I genuinely like that still. I like that saying there. But really, should you go to those ends to stay open? Or do you just do what John MacArthur did and just say, no, we're going to stay open. It's in the Constitution, and we're going to honor God with the way we live our lives, and we're going to stay open. And there's nothing you can do about it. And from what I've kind of paid attention to, there hasn't been anything that they've done. They've attempted, they've threatened things, but they've not been successful in shutting down that church of over 6,000 people meeting together and no outbreak at all. And then that is another reason why, and it could be a whole nother story as to why they continue to stay open and why they're defying these rules. And it essentially boils down to the fact that they believe that these are silly rules, that the death rate is so immensely low that that's why they're doing it. But that is a whole nother thought, a whole nother reason for why churches are staying open. I'm not really going to get into that in this one. So you have two different types of people. You've got ones that are trying to be clever as they stay open, and ones that are just going to be openly defiant as they stay open. And what do you think? I would really love to hear some feedback and some thoughts on that, because I definitely, Alex, and especially younger Alex, has just been all full in on that. But I don't know, I guess as I've matured, maybe, I don't know, I've never been accused of that, no, but I just thought, you know what, that might not be the wisest thing. And as I thought about this, because I've known about this story for about a week now, is, you know, that could invite some danger. You don't know the types of people that hate the church, that are genuine enemies of the church, and how once this building is now classified as a strip club, it allows people certain freedoms when they enter this place. And I don't know the laws of the land there, but it could potentially really hurt them. They could at the very least come in and be able to prevent a sermon from being preached, or it could get much worse. And so I'm not going to really say, oh, you shouldn't have done that because it could have gotten worse. I'm just saying, I'm just thinking out loud, saying, this could have gone worse. And maybe, thankfully, as of now, I haven't heard anything that it hasn't gotten any worse. But I mean, it's gonna take another week. It's a week by week thing. But it seemed like the more wise thing to do was to simply be openly defiant, which is I never thought I'd really be saying that, as John MacArthur is doing. Not that I completely agree with John MacArthur. It's just that I believe his approach in this situation is correct. And if you're gonna do it this way. So what do y'all think? And then finally, one other thought I'd love to get your feedback on, and something that my wife brought up is, well, what do you think the outside is going to think about this? What do you think unbelievers are going to think about a church that is staying open? Do you think that when they classify themselves as a strip club, they're like, oh, that's hilarious, that's clever, I might even want to attend this church just to hear what they have to say? Because obviously, they've got a sense of humor, and they're committed to their faith, and they're going to do what they can. And I applaud that, and I want to see what they have to say. It could work in beneficial ways like that. Or do you think, oh, wow, those guys are hypocrites, and just a bunch of negative things? Do you think it could hurt? Do you think it's worth the image to do this? So what do you think? I'd love to see your thoughts down below, and I'll be down there to comment back. So you made it this far. I hope you hit that like button. It really does help out. Subscribe if you like this content, and I'll see you in the comments and in the next video. Why did I do that?